You're listening to the Writer's Block Podcast with L.A. Wade.
You are very special to I think Canada in general, but definitely to Toronto. You're special in Jamaica. You're special in Nigeria. You are just a special, blessed, and highly favored individual. You know this, right?
I do, and I own it.
I love that.
Yeah, I own it. I take pride in it, and I want to make sure that I'm always honoring it.
Yes, I love that. And so this is why this conversation is about how you became the badass woman that you are. How did you remove those blocks to become Olunike Adeliyi? And so the best way to do that to begin is to ask you, who are you and how did you get here? What did you do?
Oh, okay. Who am I? I am Olunike Adeliyi. I am of Nigerian and Jamaican descent. I am a storyteller, which involves acting, producing, writing now, and helping those actually rise to my mentees and so on, rise to the occasion of that medium of storytelling and giving back to community. So that's who I am, a community person.
You definitely are a community person. And I would say that you may have left out, you're a serious fitness person and a wellness person.
Yes.
And I think that is underplayed with how much it contributed to your own personal growth and what you're able to output to people. Can you talk a little bit about, your wellness journey?
Yes. Well, fitness has been something that has always been a part of my life. I would say from, a very early age, maybe 4 or 5. Because I was raised in Jamaica and we started track and field very early. So I became an athlete very early, and then moving on to when I returned to Toronto, Canada, I was always on teams, basketball, track and field for high jump, long jump, sprinting, relay, 200. Soccer was a major one, so that was always incorporated in my life, and it had longevity as I got older, as I did different things in my life as an adult. I still always knew the benefits of physical fitness, and so I kept it up as best as I could.
You definitely have.
As best as I could, I definitely take breaks, long periods of time, but it's not just the physical fitness, because I also incorporate a lot of what I eat. I eat well. I've always eaten well. I'm not really a huge junk food person. I'm not a big sugar person. So that definitely added to my physique of, even when I do take breaks, that I am always eating well. So, but the health and wellness journey has been wonderful. So now I'm really working on the mental.
Yeah. And we'll get into that a little bit. But when I first met you, I met you as Olunike. And sometimes I would bump into people that have known you pretty much your whole life. And they'll be like, Wendy? And I'm like, who's Wendy? And I would almost feel like I'm talking about two different people. And quite possibly I was. But there are main characters in our life that formulate who we are. They show up to be a part of the scenes of our lives. And so, who are the main characters in Wendy's life, and who are the main characters in Olunike's life, and have they begun to intersect?
I think the main characters in Wendy's life would have to do with family and friends that have known me for as long as 35 years that I still have in my life, but a majority of the friends that I do have close right now has not been there for not less than 10 years, but I would at least say 15 years and up, including yourself. So, those would be the main characters in my life. And so if I was to write about it, it would be that. In my Olunike life, it's, people have bled through, I guess, because even the people in my Olunike life have also graduated to call me Wendy if they so want.
Right.
The friends and people in my life as Olunike that are the main characters are the ones who are there to elevate where I come from and celebrate the depth of my Nigerian, my African identity. And so they uphold that, even though they can speak on who is Wendy and who is Olunike. What they do is they uphold the integrity of what it means to be African, what it means to have identity. And so,
yes, this is exactly why. Even when I found out that there's a Wendy and an Olunike, I honor the African woman that I see and embody, that you've embodied in yourself. And so I like to call you Olunike, no matter who's calling you Wendy. And I know Wendy can be like a term of endearment from people who do know you for a long time, because we do that in our communities. We give people all kinds of names.
Yeah, and the thing is, Wendy is my actual legal name.
Oh, okay.
My name is Wendy Olunike Adeliyi.
Oh, so you went by your middle name.
I went by the middle name.
Honors that African
the world to know me as my African self. And
I
so,
love it.
Yeah, but like, so Wendy is a part of my identity. You know what? The Wendy, it was developed for Peter Pan.
Oh,
the world know this. And when we meet each other, which is also rare, we all discuss that connectability of Peter Pan, and Wendy means wanderer. And I definitely do take on that persona of myself. I wander, as you know. I'm just highly curious, and so Wendy led me into the arts, and Olunike is the one who presented a platform.
Yeah, I feel very, when we hang out together, I feel protective of you. I don't know why, I just do. And actually right now, hot off the press, I think it's because of how much you live vulnerably. You you lead with your heart, and people can try to take advantage of that, but like I said,
they do.
And but you are blessed and highly favored, so you're able to transmute any of that negativity into something magical, and it always ends up to your benefit, because the badness no weapon formed is prospering when it comes to Olunike.
No, and kindness is free, and so I lead with that.
You really do. Mm-hmm. It hasn't always been all kindness towards you. Let me jump into a quote. I take offense to being labeled dangerous, and that is what happened. When things happen like that, it can go any way, and people can get hurt. It compromises the person accused of something that is not fair. I think you might know what I'm talking about when I say this, but can you elaborate on how the experience that I'm speaking of, which I can clarify, has sharpened your views on discrimination and the portrayal of Black women in the media?
Well, it's very. I remember that incident, and it's not that I choose not to think about it, as I choose it not to make it any kind of center of my life.
Of course,
because I feel that those particular experiences are there to help to guide where you are on your healing journey. It provides experiences to grow from, and what I had learned in that time, because I was definitely I was going to UFT at that time, and I was learning so much about African and Caribbean history and Black history in the diaspora, that it was meant to happen to me, because then now I knew more about myself and more about my own community than ever before, and the importance of labels and what they can do. They can harm, they can also elevate, but mostly in a society that we are, as Black people, are deemed dangerous when that's not to be true. I mean, there are dangerous people, but when you deem a situation that is not going your way as a dangerous situation, it further puts a narrative into the collective community's minds that we are not to be trusted as human beings. We're just human beings, right? And,
it's interesting because. Go ahead, sweetie.
Oh, and that my pain is not valid. How I'm heard is not valid, and so we'll just dust it off and just label that as a difficult or angry or dangerous, because it's the easy way to define us as supposed to get to know us as human beings, and that we have our own, pains and sufferings that we deserve for them to be heard. And I felt violated in that way. And I never was dangerous or aggressive or even angry, because I never raised my voice. I spoke very eloquently, and that is what scared them.
Yeah.
It's like I was a magical Negro that they did not need to be having a voice, because it made them look bad.
Right. I think it's timely.
Can't be denied.
Yeah, I think it's timely that actually I asked this question right after the Sonia Massey incident yesterday. I do not want to look at these things, but I think it was Revolt who put out like a sketch. So they didn't show anything, a video, but they did almost like a comic book sketch of play-by-play of what happened to this poor woman who called for help and innocently was asking, she does suffer from schizophrenia, and this portrayal of Black women in the media, this woman was completely, blindsided, and then her life was taken. And so I wonder about, did that ever occur to you, the fear, that block of how Black people are perceived in the media and how that makes them so itchy to respond in a certain way? Did you ever fear that could actually be a situation that could occur to you? Like, when I think about what happened to her and you innocently going to a movie and it becoming this big thing, it doesn't fall far away from me that this could have had a different outcome if this happened somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's disturbing. And so that's a block that I don't know how you remove or where you go to within yourself. You try to do all the check boxes of, I'm speaking in a way that is non-threatening. We do this like censoring of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder about how important that ability to non-censor in the acting world frees you from those, those eyes and those judgments from society.
I don't know if it ever frees me, because I'm hyper aware that that is happening or what could happen, even just as simple as walking down a street. Right. I'm hyper aware of how others would perceive me based on how I'm walking, or if I just suddenly forgot something and turned back around, like I'm not necessarily aware, but I don't have to think about it when I'm in Black dominated countries.
Yeah.
It goes away. I wake up and I'm just a person. I don't wake up and I'm Black.
Yes.
So in that particular situation, if any in situation that I would be in, I was in deep fear. I was panicked, but they didn't know that, because what I did was remain calm and I just stopped talking.
The power of silence.
I realized that I was not talking to people who had my best interests at heart. And so I just stopped talking. And so the power of stillness is what kept me safe in my own sense. And so when they arrived, and police
kept me safe. I got to write these things down. When you drop bars like that, I write them down. The power of stillness kept me safe. Woo! That's a bar.
Safe, because what are you going to do? Because I knew that the people that were around me, not just the people who were accusing, but the other patrons, they were not trying to keep me safe. In fact, they told me that, that's just the system, dear. You're just going to have to deal with it. That's what they were saying. I knew I wasn't safe. And so therefore I just stayed still until the police arrived. And when he came to speak to me, and I said, I am not actually sure about what's happening. So you should go straight to the source and then come back to me. And then that's what he did. And he was like, you know what? There's been complaints all the time with this play, with this theater, and you are not in the wrong. We get calls constantly, and they're like, come back in a couple of days, they'll probably forget. And I said, absolutely not. I will not be spending my money here. But I was just very lucky. As we say, I'm highly blessed. So God sent the right person to me. Because he was just very intrigued of, oh, who are you? And just actually trying to get to know me. So there are good police out there. Mm-hmm. It's just those bad apples that that compromise our fellow Black members of society.
Yeah, it's terrible. Okay, let's change it up a little bit more with a different quote. Okay. Meeting Denzel Washington on the set of John Q inspired me to continue pursuing acting. What was it about that encounter that had such a profound impact on you?
Well, he told me the importance of study and the importance of picking the thing that you love the most and studying it vigorously and having discipline and having consistency. And then with the other things that I want to do, they will take on the same discipline. Mm-hmm. And so I'm moving into those realms right now. After all these years, I think I've worn so many hats, but right now I'm really getting into the space of community. And so he also would say to me, when you do have when you're in a position to have, pass the elevator back down. So I've always practiced having mentors and having mentees. And quite a bit of my mentees are doing phenomenally in the business.
Yes. In fact, I've had two guests that have raved about Olunike. Really? If it wasn't for Chantel Riley.
Oh, yes.
And Sajin.
Yes.
They both, and that whole thing with Chantel was just crazy because that was her introduction into this world of theater and then eventually film and television. But it was her first thing, and she knows how much of a role you played in helping her be prepared.
Oh, absolutely.
So it sounds like you did let the elevator back down a few times.
Yeah, because it's also a part of your own growth, right? Sometimes there's this quote of those who can't do teach.
Yes.
That's not true.
Okay.
I think that you can always do, and because you do, and you have gathered all this knowledge and information experience over the years, what you're now doing is imparting it on someone else that can carry the mantle, the torch, you know? I think it's very important that we preserve the integrity of art, and because it heals. We are essential. We're essential to everyday growth, everyday understanding, everyday grace, and also to challenge systems that don't make sense and that are destroying community. And so it was very important for me to have mentees, and the ones that I have had over the years has just been extremely wonderful and responsible students.
And responsive to what the teaching is. Yeah.
And so that's when I do once I'm doing my coaching, it is about that. It's about community. It's about ancestral presence. It's about who we're honoring. We are honoring the people that came before us, right? Because we have a very rich history. And so when you put it in that context, it doesn't feel like work. It's just play. It's just fun. And you take it off of what the industry is doing. And so Denzel really kind of honed in on that when he was advising me that you just do the best work that you can, because don't worry about the money. The money just somehow ends up in your pocket. Because it's just a byproduct of
it's true.
You doing the job that you need to do. And I feel that that's what's kept me relevant. It's kept me working and kept me happy. Because if there's no work, I'm just messing off somewhere in the world and gathering more nuts.
You're so cute. You mentioned how artists are like essential, and it makes me think about COVID and the impact that COVID had on a lot of actors, because people out there think that they're living their best life, but they live from movie to movie, basically. Mm-hmm. And that's their version of paycheck to paycheck. And people may not feel bad because they think, all actors are living their best life. But who was it that shone that light that it's not as, I think, is it Taraji who was talking a lot about, it's not easy. And if you are essential, which I believe actors are, I believe people who create things are essential. Mm-hmm. How do you find a lot of the actors in your circle, or even yourself, are dealing with the block of what COVID did to their careers?
And not just COVID, also the strike.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that didn't work in the strike, and then there's in the strike, and also in during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my busiest time, funny enough. Yeah.
Again, blessed and highly favored.
I was very, very, very blessed in that sense, because I was able to take care of my family. But yeah, like I feel that in those times, it's really important that you take care of your mental health. It is, and to revisit why you are an artist in the first place. And also, during that time, I'm not going to take away from anyone who had a really hard time, because that is valid as well. I can only lend what was going on in my own psyche was that it was a time for rest. It wasn't even a time necessarily just for art or to keep working. For me, I valued the times that I didn't, especially the first few months where nothing was happening. Right. That time I was like, I'm going to take this time to go to Jamaica and breathe the air, you know, or even before I got there, the walks outside, the nature, the stillness of the noise. There was no noise. There was not a lot of cars on the road. I had to be present and take a mental picture that we're probably never going to have that again for the rest of our lives, or for the rest of my existence. Yeah. And so I practiced a lot of stillness and being present. Yeah. Which is what we don't get, because we're always on our phones. We're always on some device or something. And, that was my way of saying I want rest, because once things started opening up a little bit, especially for film, there was no slowing down.
Right. And with the strike, what I saw from you from a distance was the very same community that you poured back into you.
Absolutely.
During the strike.
We all checked in on each other.
Yes. Yeah,
we did. We all checked in on each other. That's why it's important to have community. Without community, you're kind of dead in the water when you think about it.
Community is a great unblocker.
Great unblocker. I always say, because I mean, if for those who may not be close to their families, or having trouble with family or whatnot, your chosen family is very important. Yeah. Who you surround yourself with is very important. And it's not just about the brotherhood or the sisterhood and us, saying niceties or whatnot. The time together is about, how am I elevating this person? What can I do to also help them in their business? How can I help them?
Yes. You're very good at that. Very good. You have a solid group of people that support you. Solid
group. And I keep meeting more.
I know, of course.
As I travel, everybody's like, who are you? How do I get to know you more? And I'm like, this is great. Because before I was like, no new friends. That type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't
what a block that is, to say no new friends.
That's a real big block. I get it. And it's the cool aspect of I have my road dogs. I get it. My homies. And they're great. But sometimes you outgrow them.
It's true. Oh, that's
true. They have a special place in your heart, but then you have to adapt new energies in order for the growth to actually happen. And I love that when I do sit with my sisters or just friends in general, that we're all trying to figure out what's the new wave and how do we elevate ourselves and how do I help you? And I think because your friends should also be a part of pouring that money into your pocket.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Playing Lady Macbeth as Shakespeare's first Jamaican-Nigerian Lady Macbeth was a unique experience, I'm sure. How did your cultural background influence your interpretation of Lady Macbeth, and what challenges did you face in this role?
Well, the challenge that I faced was before I even started the role, because I kept turning it down.
Because you didn't think you could do it?
I was like, what? Shakespeare is a different beast, guys. I've never done it on stage. I've studied it all the time. Of course, with theater school or just even from high school in those times, I've loved Shakespeare. My first production was Midsummer Night's Dream and Romeo and Juliet, and I just started to continue with the King Lear and Hamlet, Twelfth Night. I just always loved it, but to perform it, I didn't want to dishonor it by butchering it.
You would never.
Right. And
You're
so
too much of a professional.
yeah, but sometimes you go through those times of like,
Blocks.
can I? And a friend of mine who is a fantastic acting teacher and director and producer, her name is Sophie Ann Rooney. She kept revisiting it. Literally, she started like January during that year and kept asking me up until September. And I was like,
she really saw this for you.
And also, Bill McDonald, who plays Macbeth, he would not do it with anyone else. So he's like, I'll wait until she figures it out and says yes.
That's a compliment like crazy.
Yeah. And he's fantastic too, has his own school in Vancouver now. He's just fantastic.
Amazing.
So I was like, okay, it keeps knocking at my door, then I have to do it. And so I agreed. And so that was like, the only block of that is like, can I do this? I don't I had to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
But once we got in, it was a collaborative effort between us artists, especially with Sophie, Bill, and I. And I asked her, if I'm going to do this, can I bring in my own native tongues, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And she's like, absolutely.
I love that.
It would come out in different parts of the play. Like, you never know when it was going to come. But what I loved about it is, say, like if I was to say one of the Shakespeare lines in patois, everybody understood. It didn't matter who you were.
That's amazing.
They knew just from the body. They knew. And so my process with being Lady M, I never saw her as a villain. I never saw her as that. I actually placed her in the place of how Black women are with their partners. We elevate, and it's always for the good of the family, the good of the empire. We are empire builders.
Yes.
And you can see it by some top men in this world that are billionaires, trillionaires, millionaires, whatever. They'll choose Black women at the end because we are some empire builders.
That is true. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I definitely know that's true about me, and I know that's true about you and most of the women that we know. So yes,
exactly. Like my mom, I was like, "Yep, she is that woman." So I'm gonna. And my grandmother, my gosh, I took a page out of their book and I placed it in that place, so that there's vulnerability and empathy for the character instead of like, "Yeah, we've got to kill the kid and take." No, it was. It was, if we don't strike now and come together and take what's ours, like a community, a kingdom, then it's going to be lost to someone else who doesn't know how to rule it. And so I just went in that place of loving your husband through building him.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I love to build a Black man. I contribute. Like, he builds himself.
Exactly. He builds himself. Now I'm also learning some new things of like, you don't build no man.
Right. And I don't want to.
You support them.
I'm full and complete already. I want to contribute to it. I don't want to subtract from it.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Like, I want to maybe build an empire, but I don't want to be a part of the controlling of how it should go. He should know. And I'm just there to be like a really big fan.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Okay. Would you rather? Would you rather take on a challenging role in an indie film or a supporting role in a blockbuster?
Ooh, girl!
Sorry. That's the point.
Okay.
It's supposed to be hard.
So I'm going to put my business brain on.
Okay.
Because I'd love to say, yes, indie film, the most important. And of course, but I've done them and they've been great. But right now in my time, at my age, I need that blockbuster. Because and I'm thinking, investment. I'm thinking in that space of, the profits and whatnot. Investing in real estate. That's the next chapter of my life is making money to reinvest it.
Right. I think it was you that sent me the clip about the girl who used to be in was it 16 Candles, and Ali.
And she's like the richest actor in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
and I can't remember the last time I saw her in anything.
She reinvested. She reinvested.
Yeah,
Because that is, in a sense, reinvesting in yourself, right?
exactly.
Exactly. So,
And that's something that unblocks when you invest in yourself.
when you invest in yourself,
Yeah.
yes, because it's for the community.
Mm-hmm. It
If
is.
you're happy, they will be happy.
It's so true. Okay. Would you rather direct a film with a significant social message or star in a commercially successful TV series?
Direct a film with
Same.
with a social message, yes,
Yeah.
because it's legacy.
Exactly. Would you rather have a year off to travel the world or spend a year honing your craft in acting? I think you've already done that. So I don't even have to ask you this one.
I love my craft, but it's nothing without the experiences of traveling the world and seeing how other cultures live and meeting other people. That's why the craft is so good, is because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I have a man that I worked with in Flashpoint called Rico Colantoni. And he played. He was like the older team leader, and he said to me, "Work for the in between." Mm-hmm. So your first check, put that away for where you're going to travel to next.
Oh, I love that. That's a great advice.
I think it's wonderful advice because I've always done that. So I've always been looking for the in between, and the work is wonderful, but I can't have the work without the in between.
I love. Oh, that's another one. Can't have the work without the in between. You say some really profound things, but that's the new you. Okay. Would you rather play a historical figure or a fictional character with complex emotions?
That's a really good one too. I think I would like to play a historical figure.
Yeah,
like I've always had the dream. I have, and also I have the dream of playing Nina Simone in her older years when she is going through being a manic depressive, and but yet still that's where her brilliance comes from.
Yeah, that's a really good one actually, because people that have these mental health challenges and how they understand themselves versus the empathy that clearly you have for the character. What is it about her in that period of her life that you believe you could speak to?
Absolutely. The rejection of society and how it plays out, manifests into adult life and creates blocks. Because as everyone was enjoying her art because it was profound, she was suffering inside.
Yeah.
And she just wanted some peace, some stillness. Why she moved to Paris just to get out.
Make the noise stop.
Get away. Make the noise stop, because it was caused by society. And from a very early age, rejecting her, of not being worthy of who she is. Just based on the color of her skin.
Right. And then when we ask people to, despite those things, to somehow dig within ourselves to find that sense of worthiness, and we can to a certain degree, but my knowing it and me being experienced as if I'm not it is definitely going to have a profound effect on how I can continue to maintain the longevity of staying in that space.
Mm-hmm.
The rejection is just overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is overwhelming, and people don't realize the effects until it's too late.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's one more. Would you rather explore dark, dramatic roles or comedic, lighthearted characters?
Oh, that's a tough one too.
You can be real silly.
Oh,
In fact, I want to see you do a comedy show on stage, like a one-woman show.
I know that's also a little bit of a thing that I've always been like. People keep saying, you'd be a great comedian, and I'm like,
you would be a great comedian.
I mean, I've done improv. I'm always in there, and I'm like ready to go. Like I've done some studies at Second City, and that has always been so much fun because it comes naturally to me. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Here's the thing: comedians make some of the best dramatic actors.
Yes,
they're so darn sharp and smart with who they are, and they have humor. You have humor. So
Yeah.
you can see it in all. That's why some of the most dark comedy is so profound.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seeks in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, what would I choose? I would say comedy right now because I just like to live in the light and
Mhm.
celebrate joy.
It
Joy
also
is really
helps.
wonderful.
Yeah. For me, it helps me transmute the pain.
Mhm.
So, but I don't want to be that person who's joking so much that I'm negating the seriousness of something.
Right.
Ever, I do want to process and then give myself grace to laugh at myself. I feel like our community has a hard time with pride. How big is
Mhm.
pride in terms of like blocking people from where they can go? In your
Well, it
opinion?
doesn't. Pride doesn't allow you to learn anymore.
Mm,
You stop learning.
yeah.
And all you have in the pride, all it's encompassed is judgment.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I mean, we live in a community where that's all we do. It's like it's taken from the supremacy world now, and it's now with each
Within
other.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we're doing even our own skin shades and
All that foolishness.
academic levels and social status. Like we're judging it within ourselves and ostracizing each other based on what your status is. It's ridiculous, and
Yeah.
so
And we take
we
it
don't
so
realize.
seriously.
Yeah, yeah, we don't realize how colonial that is. And so
Mm,
the art of going back in and decolonizing your brain so that you can accept others for their differences and get rid of
yeah.
the pride
And
is
laugh.
and laugh.
You can laugh at yourself. It's okay. Not everyone's pointing at you thinking you're not a good person.
Yeah, well, that is the most healing thing you
Yeah.
can do for yourself is to get rid of the pride.
Yes.
You can be
I agree.
proud of who you are, but the pride,
Mm.
I find that
It's a big
it
block.
harms more than does good anymore.
Agreed. So here, how did your education at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts shape your career path, and what brought you back to Toronto?
Oh, well, that's easy. I mean, like it shaped my career path because you start on stage. That the doing theater is the grounds for this art form, and so it gave me such confidence in knowing what I know and having stage presence and just having presence. Period. When I walk into a room, I loved it. Um,
Oh,
it also it what I loved about that school too is because they embraced me as an artist so much so that when I had my thesis play, I was the first Black student that they'd ever have lead a play.
no.
So the professors all came together and said that we have to do this play by Alice Childress, first Black woman, I believe, to have her play on stage in New York. Um, and we have the student that we're going to elevate into this industry, and the dean agreed, and so that was an honor for me to go out like that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was wonderful. It was wonderful how much they just really kind of held space for me. That's how I also learned to hold space for other people. And why I came back to Canada is because I had to. Visa purposes and so on. First of all, it was a good idea because I needed to be known in my own country first.
Ah,
That's what it was. You needed to be known in your own country and show extraordinary ability for the U.S. to grant you a visa to be able to continue performing there. So it was just the right path to take instead of staying there and possibly maybe marrying somebody I shouldn't.
man, that's on stage in most people's life. Is like, how did I get here?
You know, I didn't want to marry for papers. I was going to earn it myself, and it was fine because it taught me resilience and how to be a conqueror and whatever. And I promoted my country, and it's wonderful when you're on the streets, no matter where I am, that people are like, "You're that actress!" Like it just happened yesterday.
No.
Yeah, on the TTC, and it happens often, but it was wonderful that to see the joy in her face of
I love that.
the work that she's watched that I'm in, and she was just so excited. She wanted to know how to be in contact with me with IG and that, and I was like, that is so beautiful.
It is. It's sweet until you get to become superstar, and then you're just like, I need to like maneuver.
I don't think I have it in me. to everything.
I don't think so either, but I hope I get to the place where you have the choice.
Right. I mean, I don't have it in me, and I've experienced it around the world. Because working moms is a really big deal in this world.
Working moms is a big deal.
It's a big deal. And so wherever I've gone to, it didn't matter that somebody does. And my daughter looks at me like, she's like, you need a really rich man. She's like,
yes, Alicia.
You know who you are? Do you know who you are?
Stop,
and I was like, just the fact that she's just proud. And
well, she's looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
It's an extroverted version of herself that she sees, and you see the introverted version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Both Capricorns, you guys are completely well matched and yoked. You don't need a better partner because you have such a great friend in your daughter.
I do. And it's wonderful to watch her live her life because how I lived my life gave her permission to do whatever she wants to.
Yes, and she's thriving from that example.
She sure is.
Be an example, people. If you talk about being, actually, I'm not going to leave that. I'm going to ask you this question because I really want to know, what are the top 3 projects that you've worked on that gave you the biggest blocks that you had to remove to show up for them?
Oh. That is, oh my gosh, that is a good question. Because I really, I can only, 3 films or 3 projects?
2.
Shoot, I can only think of one right now.
Okay, tell me what.
Okay, I can think of The Fire Inside, which comes out in TIFF this year.
Yes.
September. And I
a couple of weeks. Really?
Yeah. And I had a huge block. Because I mean, this is a major Hollywood film, written and produced by Barry Jenkins, who is the Oscar winner for Moonlight.
Yes.
The director is Rachel Morrison, who she is the only nominated cinematographer and female in history. That she's the only one, and
listen, this is giving me goosebumps.
Right, and she's done films like Cake and Fruitvale Station and Black Panther. So she's a big deal, and so being on set, I was going through such turmoil in that time with relationship and whatnot, just everyday life. And we had been waiting so long to film that because it was casted before the whole pandemic happened. And then we had to take breaks, and then they had to change cast members. And so, you have this ginormous opportunity. And once you're finally there doing it, you're just wondering if you are worthy enough to even do it at this time. Right. And so having that block, I had to channel whatever was going through in my life into the character, because she's an incredible character. I played the mother of the main character because the story is based on Clarissa Shields, who is the #1 female boxer in the world. Yes. And Ryan Destiny plays her, and then I have to play Ryan's mom, Clarissa's mom, which it's incredible to be able to play this woman because she went through so much coming up in her life, but yet all she wanted to do was be a good mom. Even with all her failures and all her mistakes and all her addictions, all she wanted to do was be a good mom.
I can relate, and I'm sure many women can relate to that.
Yeah, so I had to find the vulnerability of her constantly and stop trying to kind of play it. I had to be it, and so therefore I had to bring my own life into it.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. And you also played the mother of Mike Tyson, which is another iconic figure.
Oh yeah, and she was incredible. Oh, what a woman! And what a journey she took as well. And it informed who she was. Informed me who Mike Tyson is today.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's
who he became and who he is today. It was from her, because that mother and child connection is probably the most important relationship in the world. And how it starts, it's a telltale of where it's
Oh yes, you sent me something on that too. It's so true though.
Reading Mother Hunger. It's so good. I just finished it.
Listen, let me just say right now that we will make this one of our book club titles, because just the title alone, Mother Hunger, it says so much to me already.
Yeah.
So I've just begun it.
What?
I just started to begin to read it because we all have some mother hunger, and sometimes somebody told me. I listened to this podcast, and the doctor said this woman was complaining about what she wanted her father to be.
Yes.
And how much she wanted her father to be a good grandfather to her child. And the woman said, you're starving, and you want your father to be the juiciest steak because you know that the steak would satiate you. And what your father is egg foo young. So for those of you who don't know, egg foo young is very light. It doesn't really have much to it. It's so light it would not make you feel like you are satiated.
Yeah.
And she's like, stop asking your father to be a steak because he's egg foo young, and don't cut off your nose to spite your face and starve to death because you're waiting for the steak when you have perfectly good egg foo young that will at least sustain you till you can get another meal.
Yes.
And that's the hunger that's where I'm at.
Analogy.
Right?
That's a great analogy. And it says something very similar in that book, Mother Hunger, that you will understand. That because we have this desire of wishing our parent was a certain way so that we can be a certain way. But that's not reality.
I didn't even know that. I'm just beginning this process of this book, but that's what it says to me.
It gives you tools, because just because you had your parent or not, like say you're a person who didn't really have that nurture, it gives you tools and how to nurture yourself.
Okay. I like it.
I like that. It's like it's not just stating the problem, it's or the issue or the experience. What it's doing is it's giving you tools for solution. Because we have no business in this world being adults that are not doing the work to be to get ourselves back to alignment with the universe. Like we have no business doing that, because what you're doing is imparting hurt on somebody else, and that's not fair.
And that's not fair. It's so true.
Yeah. So change. You're the change.
Yes, right? Okay, we're going to end off with some rapid fire questions, because
oh my gosh,
we could talk all day, I'm sure.
No, and we do.
Okay, what's your favorite role that you've ever played? Is it this recent one, or is it
Queenie, the porter?
Yes,
Porter.
I'm so mad at Canada for taking that off, or Canada, or whoever is responsible. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched that, Revenge of the Best Black Friends, shout out to Amanda Paris and Motion, aka Wendy Brathwaite. They created something that this city really needs in terms of Black representation. And I'm not removing myself, because you have helped me co-produce Thirsty AF, the Adventures of a Recovering Sex Addict, that we need to make into a series. And even what's that other show that was on Crave that they now
Reenact Get to Life.
These are the shows that we do want to watch. Hello, we want to watch them. So shame on you, Canada. Don't take away our funding. We need to make these kind of shows possible.
And absolutely.
We need that recognition. Okay,
absolutely.
Could you have dinner with if you could have dinner with any actor, living or dead, who would it be? That's a popular question.
Oh, it'd be Denzel Washington.
Well, you've already had his wisdom.
Exactly, but I could go for more, and I want to know what he thinks of life and things at this age.
Yes. I want you and I to do something with Viola Davis.
Yes. She's amazing. Other than Denzel, my favorite is Angela Bassett.
Oh God, I love her.
She's taken me through some roles that I just see myself and the possibilities of what I can do in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see a Keke Palmer, you, and Angela Bassett thing happening. That's what I paused for.
We all look the same.
I know. It's kind of like, that's an interesting little dynamic.
Yeah.
You start writing something. What dream role haven't you played yet?
Nina Simone or Miriam Makeba, who is a huge musician from South Africa, and also used to be associated with the Black Panther Party or the Communist Party back in the day. She was married to Carmichael, who was another freedom fighter, and she just has incredible, insightful things to say about who we are as a people and how strong we are without colonization. And I just loved it. I love her. I think she's absolutely stunning, and yeah, it'd be wonderful to depict her life. And the challenge of the sounds of the South African dialect.
You know, I have to thank you for attracting the attention of the gentleman who was sitting with Professor James Small that day in Harlem, because he was so enamored with you that we began a conversation that has led to, this short documentary with Professor Small, and getting the chance to work with my partner on the documentary has been and that's because of your beauty and of who you are. So thanks for, when you open up community, you open it up for other people to experience it with you. So it's been lovely riding alongside with you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. What do you thirst for?
Ooh, love always.
Me too. I mean, even when we have it, we just want it and want it. And
we
don't want to lose it.
I love love a lot. I even have, look at that, like my rings.
Aww.
Love.
Love is all over.
Yeah, like I think it's important. It's literally what every human being on the planet desperately is seeking. Definitely. And when they don't get it, you could see how it manifests. And it's really sad to watch. But love is most important, especially on your deathbed, as I watched my father take his last breath and transition into ancestral world. The fact that he had his loved ones, like his children, around his bedside, that's the only thing that matters, who you loved and who loved you.
It's so true. And our condolences to you, because death is definitely a journey. When I did a course in university, it talked about the transformation from wet to dry.
Oh.
And how there's a parallel that the person that has passed, you parallel that because you are in a sense decomposing with them to a place of, and what we're afraid of is being forgotten. And in the way that you speak about your father, he will never be forgotten, and therefore will always be here.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Where are you currently your last question? Where are you currently unblocked? Where are you currently blocked? And what commitment can you make here and now towards unblocking it?
I'm currently blocked in my writing journey, because I know I do know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. And so that's why I've brought in people such as yourself and that to be able to kind of speak about it so that I can hear it out loud and have other ears and other opinions in it, that people that I trust, of course.
Right, of course.
Because I do have my friend Dibi Anita Africa. She is also a part of my mentoring me on my writing journey. And because I want to write about my experiences, because I think that they're valid. I think they're
hilarious.
I think they're relatable. Heart-wrenching. Once my father had passed, I was like just hearing the stories, different stories about his life through my sisters and friends and uncles and that. I need to write about this man.
Yes.
Yes, you do. I do.
Yes, you do.
I have
especially that love affair.
Yeah.
How did this even happen? And then what happens in what happens after?
What happens
when love is no longer present? What happens after? And can we go back and forth and try and pinpoint how the person that you see today, where it started before? Like, I love writing because you can take such temporal journeys. You don't have to write linear. You can write. And then you have your
my home like last year for months while me and my mom took care of him. Can you imagine? Like, he ended up back with us after living this, for him, extraordinary life and globetrotting. And yet when he's at his most vulnerable, he needed us.
Yeah.
Which was insane. Like, I felt like that was my closure of being able to have him in the home and help him in the best way we could. That was me and my mom's closure. But yeah, like at the end of the day, he ended up back with his first wife.
Yeah. And those are interesting journeys. those are interesting journeys, and there's fallout all around for the different characters around. They all have a different perspective of that event. The children, the other wife, like all of these things tell wonderful stories.
Wonderful stories. I was able to see my mom as a giant as well.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because
that's
even
powerful.
with her struggles, the fact that she had the capacity to still love in that way and care for a man that has left many years ago and left her with a child and, you know, didn't help her much in any way, but he showed up when he needed to, and just her capacity to love makes me know that love is possible.
And that it's in you.
And that it's in me.
And it's how you live.
Yeah, and the importance of also protecting myself and protecting my heart because it's so big.
Exactly. Well, it is biblical. Guard your heart.
But I don't need to shield it, but I just need to protect it because it's so big. And so therefore only certain energies will be able to come in and experience it to its fullest. But if I sense that you're taking advantage, then I will bow out gracefully and wish you well on your life's journey.
For real. Exactly. Oh my gosh, girlfriend, I love that you just spent this time being vulnerable, being wise, insightful, funny, beautiful, all of the things. I am honored to be your friend and your confidant, and anything else that is required that you need. I serve you, my friend. I love you. Thank you, everyone, for being in the Writer's Block podcast. I want to thank our sponsors, TRF Media. I want to big up Mello for his producing extraordinaire, and he's great.
Yep.
30 AF, my wine bottle, courtesy of CH Hot and Wines. You can pick it up on my website. This is LAWade.com, and you can reach me on IG at This Is LA Wade Inc. And if you want to learn more about our clients and our guests, their creative journey, please visit the writersblock.podcast on IG. What should we know about you now, and how do we reach you?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to you for creating this platform. You are always forward moving, and it's an honor to be your friend.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, where you can find me on IG at Olunike Adeliyi. Twitter.
You have a fitness one too, right?
This one? Oh, yes, you can find me on IG at Olunike Fitness. Come on over and join in the fitness journey that I'm on.
I'll put them in the show notes, the links, so that we can find
it. Like physical fitness, it's mental fitness, it's spiritual fitness, it's emotional fitness, it's what do I do and how can I share it to the rest of you in order to create peace and joy in your life. And so, I'm saying let's heal together. So that's why I created Olunike Fitness.
I love it.
And those are the places that you can find me. And of course, come out to see The Fire Inside that's going to be premiering at TIFF. I don't know what the dates are, but I'll keep everyone posted on my Instagram accounts. And I would like to see that place packed with people that look like me.
Yes, please.
As well as the community. Everybody is invited to all screenings. Go and see them all. But please come out and let's support our stories, our Black stories.
Yes, let's support those stories. I love it. Remember, you're more resilient than you think. Grab a pen, grab a camera, grab a paintbrush, grab a hold of yourself and get unblocked. We'll see you next time.
You're listening to the Writer's Block podcast with LA Wade.
Hello, I am Olunike Adeliyi. I am a storyteller, which encompasses acting, writing, and producing. And I just got unblocked on the Writer's Block podcast.